tonight, how higher education is helping Montana in the battle against COVID-19. Plus, business is booming for one industry amid the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Keely Van Middendorp, and I'll have more from Great Falls next.
And a critical service for our local veterans. A look inside the new VA clinic in Great Falls and how it will be different.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for trusting KRTV. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Keely Van Middendorp. First tonight at 10, beginning close at home on one of the hottest days of the year, the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office has closed open burning in the county. MTN's
Alexia Aguayo has the details.
The closing of open burning only refers to organic debris pile of 48 inches in diameter or larger. Typically, to burn of this size, you need a permit. The Sheriff's Office has closed these permits. Sheriff Leo Dutton says hot temperatures and drying vegetation is the primary reason for closing these permits.
We're looking at this as a proactive stance of not having a big wildfire. It is getting dry, it's going to be hot, and the moisture content of the vegetation would lend itself to a quick spread of the fire.
Recreational campfires are still okay. Of course, Sheriff Dutton recommends following all safety precautions to mitigate fire risk. In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
Well, severe weather is possible tomorrow afternoon. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. And for the latest, Grant Garland joins us from the Weather Center.
Well, good evening, Tim, and good evening, everybody. I hope that you have had a pleasant Wednesday evening. And you're right, we are looking at the chance for some severe weather starting tomorrow afternoon, right after the lunchtime hour. Looking at isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms. Damaging wind gusts will be a threat, as well as quarter-sized hail and frequent lightning. So even though we are getting some moisture, which we desperately need, we're going to have to keep an eye out because any cloud-to-ground lightning that could start a fire. Temperatures right now, 72 degrees in Great Falls, 73 in Helena, as well as out towards Lewistown, 78 though still in Jordan, and slightly cooler in Glasgow at 77. Looking at a 9-mile-per-hour wind in Great Falls as well as Havre. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking and tracking scattered showers and a few thunderstorms, which have since died out, but we are still seeing some light shower activity in Lewistown as well as up towards Havre, and that could be the continuing trend tonight with a few isolated showers. Temperatures falling down to around 64 degrees, and for everyone else, 66 in Havre, 67 in Glasgow, 65 in Hayes, and 63 in Choteau. Coming up, I'll time out the storms expected to move through the Treasure State tomorrow afternoon. Back to you.
Thanks, Grant. Well, moving now to the latest coronavirus news. 2 more COVID-19 related deaths have pushed the Montana total to 42 tonight. The latest victims are a Yellowstone County man in his 60s who died at his home and a Sweetgrass County man in his 80s who had been hospitalized. The state of Montana reported over 100 new cases since Tuesday. 52 Montanans remain hospitalized. And due to a large rise of COVID cases across the nation, Montana has had difficulty getting asymptomatic tests processed in an acceptable amount of time. Governor Bullock announced a new partnership with Montana State University today that aims to correct that. Beginning next week, MSU will begin processing asymptomatic COVID tests for Montana. The state lab is currently working with the university to certify their machines and hopes to get them up and running next week. At the beginning, MSU will process 500 tests a day. They are actively working on developing pool testing, which would run multiple samples in the same batch to increase their capacity by 3 to 4 times. If a pool test came back negative for the virus, the university would then retest all samples from that group individually.
I'm confident with MSU's research enterprise and ingenuity. Montana will have much of its testing capacity done here in state at the university and through our state lab.
And Governor Bullock also announced today the state has allocated more than $800 million of the $1.25 billion provided to the state for the COVID relief fund. There are still millions of dollars available in current funding for Montanans and businesses affected by the pandemic.
The U.S. government is making a deal to put big money into a potential COVID vaccine. It plans to pay Pfizer and a German company nearly $2 billion to produce 100 million doses if their vaccine is approved. The government says the vaccine would be offered for free. The agreement is part of Operation Warp Speed, which aims to deliver 300 million doses of a coronavirus vaccine by 2021.
Well, the auto industry is one of many that's felt impacts from the coronavirus, but it's not all bad news. I talked with several officials to find out what consumers need to know before heading into the lot. Due to COVID-19, business halted for one Great Falls dealership earlier this year.
Our business got extremely quiet and hardly was non-existent.
Taylor Automax furloughed staff for weeks, but reopened thanks to federal funding. Now business is booming for the family-run dealership.
May, June, and now July has just been lights out, busy.
And he's not alone. Dealerships are offering historically low interest rates, higher trade-in values, and expanded loan programs.
Lending isn't wide open right now. They're also being a lot more generous with the Fed being down at this time.
Now, consumer confidence is at an all-time high. That's according to both dealerships in Great Falls. They say it's a great time to not only trade in your old car, it's also a great time to look for a new ride altogether.
One of the best times we've seen in our family's automotive career to make that move.
Odell says they're also seeing online traffic increase with more residents at home.
They're surfing the web, they're looking. And the good news is they're shopping.
Dealerships say they're confident in factories' abilities to keep up with consumer demand.
I think we've received 22 cars in the last week.
We're selling vehicles that aren't even here yet.
But another economic shutdown could mean a decline in sales for local dealers.
There is a genuine concern of that.
Great Falls development leaders say they're hearing from businesses around the Golden Triangle looking for help as economic uncertainty continues. Great Falls Development Authority Senior Vice President tells MTN News one of the biggest areas they're helping businesses in is resources for online revenue. She says another big struggle for business owners right now is paying and hiring employees. And she says businesses in every sector are having to adapt to new hiring and marketing methods to stay relevant. While best practices are changing, GFDA is there to help at no cost thanks to a number of partners.
We were able to obtain grants and federal funding and state funding that we match locally with other businesses put into the donation pool. So we are able to provide business coaching to any business in the Golden Triangle that needs or wants it, absolutely free.
Along with financial specialists, the Great Falls Development Authority offers online courses for business owners on staying relevant and resources for those struggling to hire employees. Well, staying near the Electric City, Great Falls-based VisionNet was founded in 1995 to provide advanced distance learning and internet to rural Montana schools. They've since expanded to become the state's largest network, but the COVID-19 crisis has brought the company full circle to their original mission. The pandemic has forced many schools and companies to operate remotely, and VisionNet has provided the infrastructure to meet the rising demand.
Our network was optimized really well to handle this, and we definitely saw traffic pattern changes during the COVID crisis when everyone started migrating to work at home and remote learning. Had a fairly significant impact on our network, but it's built to handle it, which is the good news, and so we're in a good position for this.
Evan says COVID-related internet traffic has plateaued, but VisionNet is planning to build more fiber network into larger cities to handle more clients and more traffic.
Well, still to come on the 10 o'clock news, trouble for the nation's largest private servicer of student loans.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Thanks for joining us back here on MTN. Today, a victory for U.S. Senator Jon Tester and veterans nationwide. Lawmakers passed a bill to provide VA benefits to veterans suffering from conditions related to Agent Orange exposure. This was a herbicide used during the Vietnam War. Many veterans today are suffering from illnesses linked to it, including certain types of cancers. Senator Jon Tester spoke about the importance of this bill today.
And the fact is that we need to listen to the scientists. We've got to keep extending the list of presumptive conditions as science merits it, as it is in this case, to support an entire population of veterans that are living with diseases that none of us want, that none of them would have.
And the legislation is slated to pass as an amendment to the Senate's must-pass National Defense Authorization Act. And staying on Veterans Affairs, the new Veterans Affairs Clinic in Great Falls is gearing up to open next week, but MTN was there today for a sneak peek. MTN's Isaiah Dunk takes us through.
I'm standing outside the new Great Falls VA clinic, which is set to open next week. Now, the new space is double the capacity of the old one, and one thing vets will notice when they come in is just how efficient the new process will be. Let's take a look inside. Once completed, the new clinic will be the first of its kind in Montana using the PACT model. That's P-A-C-T. It stands for Patient Aligned Care Team. Essentially, veterans will stay in the same room and a special team of staff will come to them based on their needs.
The nurse will, check the veteran in, do their vitals. Then you have the provider who will then come in, see the veteran for their care. And then anything that's identified, say, for example, medication management, we have a pharmacist on that PAC team. And if somebody needs to see a mental health provider at that time, we have somebody available right there that can see that veteran in that room.
Since the new clinic is bigger, each provider now has 2 exam rooms, so one PACT team can help multiple vets at once.
So it makes it more efficient that you can essentially, while the nurse is checking in one veteran, the provider is seeing the other veteran, and you can move patients through the clinic much more efficiently.
Plus, the space is just easier to get around.
At our previous facility, we were spaced out on 2 different floors, and patients would have to go from one floor to the other. And especially for our older patients and with mobility issues, that could be a big deal for them. And so being all in one place, in one space, on one floor is going to be so efficient for our patients. And we've already heard from our veterans. They are so excited to come to this new facility that we've built for them.
And while the Great Falls location is the first in Montana to implement the PACT model, future remodels or new sites across Montana will see it as well. In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN News.
Thanks, Isaiah. And the clinic opens next Monday, July 27th. There will be a grand opening event on July 31st at 11 a.m. The public is invited to attend. Be sure to RSVP on the Montana VA Healthcare System's Facebook page. That starts this Friday.
While Congressman Greg Gianforte was in Washington, D.C. voting for the Great American Outdoors Act, his opponent in the race for governor visited the East Gallatin River to discuss the importance of protecting the outdoors. MTN's Gabby Crevitt has the details on what the lieutenant governor had to say.
Today, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mike Cooney held a press conference talking about the importance of protecting Montana's public lands here on the East Gallatin River. And you might remember this location has some political significance.
Madam Speaker, I rise today in support of the Great American Outdoors Act.
While Congressman Gianforte shared his support for the House's version of the Great American Outdoors Act in Washington this afternoon, Democratic candidate for governor Mike Cooney held a press conference not far from the stream access point that was the center of a lawsuit back in 2009. Gianforte sued to remove a portion of the stream access over part of his Bozeman property.
Greg Gianforte sued Montanans, meaning you and me, the true owners of our public lands, to block access to that spot right over there.
The main topic of discussion was protecting Montana's public lands and criticizing his opponent for not co-sponsoring an identical House version of the Great American Outdoors Act.
What's so important about him co-sponsoring it? It shows leadership. It shows his commitment to his, what he says is his strength of being a proponent of public lands. You can either lead on this issue or you can follow.
But Congressman Gianforte has signaled his strong support of the bill from the start, crediting Montana Senator Steve Daines for taking the lead in the Senate.
My friend Senator Daines deserves a lot of credit. He has successfully advanced this historic legislation, historic because of its long-term dedication to our public lands.
Gianforte urged his colleagues to support the House bill today, highlighting the benefits for public lands across the country. While both candidates acknowledged the importance of the bill for Montana's public lands, they dinged each other on their records and actions.
I've used my time in elected office to expand protections for Montana's public lands. He's used his to attempt to strip them away.
And in a written statement from Gianforte's campaign, career politician Mike Cooney can make time for a photo op in Bozeman, but he can't make time to avoid violating state ethics laws or put forward a plan to get Montanans back to work. In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Also from the campaign trail, a decision on the state Democratic Party's lawsuit to throw the Green Party off of Montana's 2020 ballot is now in the hands of a district judge.
The Montana Democratic Party and 4 registered voters filed suit last month saying the petition that qualified the Green Party for the 2020 ballot is not valid. They say at least 440 voters who signed the petition asked to withdraw their signature after discovering the Montana Republican Party was behind the effort to qualify the Green Party. But Secretary of State Corey Stapleton denied those requests, saying the deadline for withdrawals had passed. The suit says no such deadline exists in state law, and therefore the signatures must be removed. If that happens, the suit says the petition to certify the Green Party is short of the signatures it needs. A hearing on the suit was held last week, and State District Judge James Reynolds of Helena will now decide the issue. If Reynolds rules in favor of the lawsuit, a half-dozen Green Party candidates will be removed from the 2020 general election ballot.
Well, temperatures tomorrow warming up to 87 in Great Falls, 82 in Lewistown, and 89 in Havre. Don't go away. We're going to discuss the severe weather tomorrow after this break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Wednesday. Just go ahead and take a look at this scene, if you will, with me. It's beautiful outside, very nice and quiet and calm. It will be a different, though, scene tomorrow as we head throughout the day. Now, temperature 74 degrees. We are looking at humidity up at 41%. Thanks to those rain showers, that did also help kind of bring us out of that kind of dry spell that we were at earlier. Now, 95 degrees, though, today in Helena, 93 in Great Falls. Very, very warm day. 94 in Lewistown. Out towards Jordan, though, 103 degrees. I don't know how y'all do it out there. 96 in Glasgow, too. Very, very hot. But believe it or not, this wasn't the hottest that it's ever been. We were able to get to 102 degrees back in 1936. Same year that it took, it was 25 cents for 4 cans of Campbell's tomato soup. I don't even like tomato soup, but there you go. Currently 73 degrees in Lewistown as well as out towards Helena, 72 in Great Falls at one of our weather locations. And even though we aren't seeing a windy, really kind of night, we have been looking at a windy day. 40-mile-per-hour winds in Great Falls, 26 in Helena, 36 in Lewistown, out towards Havre, 35 miles an hour today. So a very windy day, and we could see some even windier conditions tomorrow. Now, the reason why we saw those wind gusts was because of these showers and thunderstorms that have been making their way through the area over the last 6 hours. And we're continuing to still see the effects of those in north of Havre. We're also right around Lewistown, too, getting in on some good action with the rain. But for most of us, we will see mostly cloudy skies, and we could see maybe an isolated shower or two as we head throughout the night. Tomorrow, we will look at the chance for severe weather, and it's going to be we'll have that happen right after lunchtime. Scattered storms on Friday, and also this weekend, we're going to see our temperatures in the 80s. The Storm Prediction Center, they have issued a medium risk for scattered severe thunderstorms as well as out towards Glasgow and Scobie. In between, though, the sandwich kind of speak, Havre and Hayes, you're looking at the chance for isolated severe thunderstorms, damaging wind gusts as well as quarter-sized hail and frequent lightning. That is all possible. And here's the reason why. As we go throughout the night, we will be looking at mostly cloudy skies. Going into tomorrow, we're going to have this kind of brief spell, if you will, that is going to allow the sun to start to heat us up. And this is going to be fuel for the thunderstorms that start to make their way in. So right around 2:30, starting to see them advance into Helena, then to Great Falls. And we're going to see kind of this separate wave 1 and wave 2, as they make their way through the Treasure State. And this will be the continuing trend all throughout till around 10 to 11 p.m. when we're going to be looking at Glasgow and our friends in Scobie getting the last hit of the showers and thunderstorms. Then we go into Friday morning looking at a mix between mostly clear to partly sunny skies, and we could still see a few showers and thunderstorms mainly for Helena and Lewistown right around 6 in the evening. That will have the best chance for that. As far on Friday evening, as far as how much rain we could get, well, we could be looking at maybe ½ an inch of rain in Helena, and this has been bouncing back and forth with numbers. So make sure that you stay tuned with Jason tomorrow morning. He'll be able to help you out with a better chance as we get closer to that event. 63 tonight in Lewistown, 65 in Hayes, 63 in Choteau. All in all, temperatures 87 degrees tomorrow with a good chance of showers and thunderstorms, which, well, we are expecting them to be severe at some times. And Sunday, 85 degrees with nice sunny skies. Tim?
Thanks, Grant. MSU basketball is back on the floor with a few COVID-caused changes.
Find out how they're embracing those next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Montana State University's men's basketball team has returned to the court.
MTN's John Miller explains how the Bobcats are staying safe while practicing.
On Monday, the Montana State men's basketball team was finally able to practice on their home court.
It's been awesome just to get back in the gym with these guys. You know, obviously there's still the restrictions. You got the mask. You know, we can't play one-on-one or two-on-two. You know, everybody's got to kind of keep a distance.
Don't be in a race to just ball hand. Hey.
Practicing at home or at the park by yourself during the shutdown, you could forget to work on a big aspect of the game.
You can tell that the guys haven't done anything defensively in about 5 months.
Now that the team is back on the court, they have a few guidelines they must abide by.
They all have to come in at the same entrance. They have to get their temperature checked. They got to answer questions. They have no access to our locker room. They have to come basically straight down to either the training room or on the court. And then after they're done working out, they basically all got to go out a different door. So that way athletes aren't running into each other, going in and out the same door.
Not just that, they must be wearing a mask at all times.
Whenever they're in close quarters, they know they have to have it on. The workouts, the way we've tried to design them, you know, that they're not getting within 6 feet of each other or 6 feet of a coach. So they've done a good job. They're pretty much used to it now, from lifting and conditioning with it on.
But it also has a minor downside when they're trying to communicate.
Sometimes we're yelling at them to be louder and you forget, like, oh, they got a mask on. You probably can't hear them.
With all that has gone on this offseason in regards to COVID-19 and peaceful protests, the team has a one-word motto: embrace.
Embracing each other's races, our differences, you know, embracing each other, embracing the grind, embracing the weight room, and embracing the opportunity to be here right now.
In Bozeman, John Miller, MTN Sports.
And we'll be right back with a final check of weather.
Well, temperatures tonight one last time: 64 in Great Falls, 62 in Helena, 65 in Hayes. And as we head out the doors tomorrow, 69 degrees, mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. We'll look at the chance for isolated severe thunderstorms to scattered severe thunderstorms in the afternoon. Tomorrow's highs: 82 in Lewistown, 89 in Havre, and 84 in Hayes. And for the last look at our 7 days, we are going to be looking at temperatures in the mid to low 80s this weekend before warming back up next work week.
Well, we have a winner after more than 1,000 different name suggestions and more than 8,000 votes online. Zoo Montana's new two-toed sloth finally has a name.
Meet Winston. Today, Zoo Montana and Stockwind Bank, which is sponsoring Winston's home, announced the winning name. Winston is said to be very excited about his new name. As excited, I guess, as a sloth can be. Winston expects to be hanging out in his new home at Zoo Montana in Billings by the end of the month. Slowly but surely making his way here. Yeah.
I was telling Grant earlier, he's been so highly publicized, he's like Montana's version of a royal baby.
I know.
Montana's new mascot.
Yeah.
Or like
Sir Winston. Sir Winston.
There you go.
I like it. Yeah, very proper. That's all the time we have tonight at 10. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night.
Good night.